Episode 23, some not so inexpensive Christmas gifts. All right, welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki G. I'm here to inform and delight you about everything off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. Why 10 minutes? Well, I forgot already. All right, so in the past few episodes, we talked about inexpensive Christmas gift ideas for the off-roader, and it's something made by hand so you can just feel the love in it. The next on my list I call a warm kit, and this can fit in an ammo can as well. It's basically a blanket, a hat, a ski cap, some socks, and some gloves. And that's if you're got to spend the night in your vehicle and you're wet. It's nice to have some dry socks. Blanket's nice to wrap up in, and, of course, hat and gloves to keep warm. So if you're out somewhere and you're stuck in your vehicle and it's cold, it's nice to have that. That'll fit in an ammo can, or you can put it in some type of tote bag. But now I'm going to talk about just miscellaneous items that are relatively inexpensive that we would appreciate if people bought it for us. I'd like to say fire extinguisher, number one on the list. Go out to the guy's off-road rig, look at his fire extinguisher, and buy him another one. Because chances are our fire extinguishers, they have an expiration on them, probably getting close to expiration, so we wouldn't mind having a fresh one. And if it's not close to expiration, you can't go wrong with a second fire extinguisher. Nobody ever said, man, I just have too much fire extinguisher. When you have a fire need, more is better than none. And it doesn't have to be the $100, $200 fire extinguisher. And if he's rolling with the expensive fire extinguisher, get him a cheap ABC fire extinguisher that you get at Lowe's for like $15, $17. Because there might be a small fire, like not a life-threatening fire, like a campfire. Now, your campfire gets a little out of hand, or you want to put your campfire out, pull out the cheap fire extinguisher and use it. The expensive fire extinguisher is great for if there's an engine fire, because you want to put that fire out and it won't leave that big, sticky, dry chemical mess behind. If he's got an expensive fire extinguisher, buy him a cheap one. If he's got a cheap fire extinguisher, get him a nice one. And you can't go wrong protecting the ones you love. All right, another thing on the list that most people don't think to carry that we would appreciate if we got is a hatchet. Just a little tiny axe, basically. We always need a hatchet. So, and a lot of people I know don't carry a hatchet. I carry one because I over prepare. I carry one of everything. But yeah, a hatchet is a good idea. Another good thing to carry is a machete. And you can get a hatchet and a machete at Harbor Tool and Freight for $5, $6 a piece. But a machete comes in handy for the stuff you have to whack that are just too light for a hatchet. Machete is a good thing to carry. I personally don't have a machete in my Jeep. I keep thinking of getting one, but I never do. And I'm running off the rails. Another good gift to get your off-roader is a flashlight, a rechargeable flashlight, one that recharges with a USB that we could charge in our Jeep while we're driving around, or one we don't have to carry batteries for. A rechargeable flashlight works great. And again, Harbor Tool and Freight has a lot of good ones. A small shovel. It's almost like the size of a garden spade. A shovel is another good thing to carry that a lot of guys don't think to buy for themselves. And then last on my list of nice, inexpensive gifts is a 2-ton bottle jack. And you can get that at Harbor Tool and Freight or Northern or Lowe's. And if you pay more than $20 for one, you're paying too much. But a 2-ton bottle jack comes in handy for a lot of stuff. Probably use that more than I use my high lift. And speaking of high lift, look at the high lift jack on your off-roader's vehicle. If it's not an authentic high lift brand, if it's a knockoff like Smitty Build or any of the cheap ones, get them a good quality high lift jack. They're a little bit pricey. You're going to pay a little over $100 for them, but the quality of them are a lot better. So that makes it a little bit safer. High lift jacks, if you use them wrong, are kind of unsafe, but a good quality jack is a must, and it makes it a little bit safer. Plus, High Lift sells rebuildable kits. He'll never have to buy another High Lift jack again. Next year, you could just buy him the rebuild kit, and they're very simple to rebuild. There's tons of YouTube videos on it. But and if he does have a High Lift brand jack, go to highlift.com. I guess that's their website. But hit the internet, contact High Lift, and get him a rebuild kit. He'll appreciate that. And if you could find somebody to rebuild it for him, that would be even better. But yeah, to each their own. Now we're talking into the high prices, the $100 range. Winch cable. We never think about replacing our winch cables, and that's a good safety item too. So go out to their winch, write the model number down, contact the winch manufacturer, and see what cable they recommend. I prefer steel cable on my winch, but a lot of people now run with synthetic. And if they have a synthetic line, go out and they're kind of pricey, but buy them another 7,500 foot length of synthetic line. If he doesn't need it now, he will next year, because they wear out. And the same thing with steel cable. Probably like me, running with questionable steel cable we've had on there for years. It's probably frayed in a few places, but it'll still work if we have to. But it's degrading, and a nice steel cable would be nice, but we're cheap and we don't want to admit that we're going to throw something away before it goes actually bad. So if you get them, if you're buying a replacement winch cable, we would really appreciate that. And if they don't have a winch cable, or if they don't have a winch, that's a good thing to get. But that's another thing you have to feel like. Some people don't like running with winches. If they don't have a winch, get them another tow strap. I know you can, even if you do have a winch, I guess, you can't go wrong with more tow straps. And then, of course, shackles is always good. I prefer the nice steel shackles. I'm old school. But a lot of people like the new soft shackle. And I guess if somebody bought me a soft shackle, I wouldn't say no to that, and I would probably use it. I've used other people's soft shackles, but I tell you, they're so light, I just don't trust them. But that's a personal problem I have. But anyhow, so that's my Christmas list. So anyhow, this concludes my Christmas list, and I'll run through it real quick. Fire extinguisher, hatchet, machete, rechargeable flashlight, shovel, 2-ton bottle jack, high lift rebuild kit, winch line or winch and tow straps and shackles. Those are always good, and I wouldn't say they're inexpensive, but they're always good Jeep ideas. And of course, you could also ask your off-roader in your life, hey, what would you like? And guys, I got to tell you, if you want to make life easier for your loved ones, start an Amazon wish list. Label it my Christmas list and put 10, 20, 30 items on there and say, if you want to know what to get me for Christmas, just pick 2. And then this way you kind of getting what you want. All right, that's about all the time we have for tonight. You can catch and download the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Podbean, and YouTube. You can follow and or contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on the Gram, the Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube. You can email us at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. That's 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. All right, until next time, this is Nikki G saying, wheel what you got and be happy.